growth corridor is basically kind of defining where we plan to grow and what type of growth we want to do in that area. It kind of gives us a way to kind of control the growth a little bit and have a little more control and kind of set the future a little bit. It gives guidance to the staff and it gives guidance to landowners and to future landowners of what the vision of the city is.
Where it makes sense to extend all those services because we want to have a land for new homes or new residential development, more commercial development, and also more light industrial business park development. So it's kind of aligning all those resources. A lot of those areas, what's nice about our growth corridors is that they're spread out in many different areas of our city, north, south, east, west. So you'll see a balanced growth in the city, a healthy growth.
Where are the best places that will accommodate the traffic growth, that'll accommodate the growth, and it'll be kind of receptive to what we want to build.
So growth corridors, as we looked at and studied and researched in our future land use map that we recently amended, is that we really looked at those areas that maybe we haven't annexed into the city, and also those areas that we felt that needed still infrastructure to be run, whether wastewater or water lines to be run and roadways to be run there, in order to make that corridor or that area economic development viable for Hutto's future growth and our future outlook.
The corridors can be flexible to an extent. If someone comes in and buys land, if a farmer has land and he sells it and somebody wants to buy it and put a mall there, we have some control over that, but for the most part it's going to be driven by the economy. I mean, we all know the economy, things change. You know, what was hot 10 years ago is not the same now. So we've got to be flexible enough that there may be something on the horizon we haven't even thought about. So there is some leeway and flexibility, but there's also kind of some guidance within that.
North, south, east, west. So you'll see a balanced growth in the city, a healthy growth, not just one area where we're concentrating growth, but a whole balance and growth area. So that's good with regard to traffic and road congestion. We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to actually be proactive.
I think the challenge is more as you go east, where you still got a lot of open land, depending on how, I mean, with the roads, future roads to be developed, I mean, I think we've got some ability to kind of control that a little bit, but for the most part, it really kind of started to shape up really fairly easy as you start to look at it.
Some of the challenges to developing growth corridors are, for example, how do you run, where do you run that infrastructure? Actually planning for those corridors, because when you identify a growth corridor which is, for example, west of SH 130 near the Tradesman Park 79 area.
About a year ago we started looking at the future land use maps, and the approach in the past has always been kind of approaching it with, if you didn't know what was going there, just mark it as residential and then wait until somebody comes along and buys the land. The current council want to be a little more aggressive and a little more focused in being able to say when a developer comes into the community or somebody comes in and wants to buy land, they know kind of what the vision and direction of the city is. So kind of being able to say, here's where we see the great retail and industrial and commercial growth.
It's channeling the growth, it's looking at specific land uses that make sense along those corridors. It's looking at what's already there. So we want to be able to be agile and flexible and adaptable to what's coming. We don't want to wait until something becomes a problem. Let's fix the problems we have, but also really plan for future growth so that we can avoid those obstacles that a lot of the built-out cities are dealing with right now.